Hi, I'm Deanna. Welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking and this shocking mess, putting orders together and rooting through things that cannot be found. It's like that U2 song, I still haven't found what I'm looking for. It represents my life back here. But if you can ignore that, this is a short video on blocking. So blocking is the finishing. This is a beginner's video for sure. Blocking is what you're going to do when you finish hooking your piece and you are wanting to make it look a little more finished and even and smooth, and before you do your finishing on your edges. So you're not doing the edges of the whipping or the wrapping or anything like that yet. This is just right after you finish hooking. People do something that's called blocking. So I just finished the owl a minute ago. So he needs to be blocked. Now blocking is going to make him, let me bring you down here. Blocking is going to make him look a lot smoother and more finished. If you are someone who loves the style of hooking where everything is very uneven and you've got lots of big fat yarn sticking up and lots of tails of other things sticking up, and you like that texture, then you probably don't want to block. If you block, you are going to even out and smooth out the surface, meaning the pile. So unless you are working with strips or you are doing a project that you want to make it all a little bit smoother, more finished, more even, for a more traditional look, you're going to want to block. But if you are doing things with mixed fibers or mixed content fibers, in other words, if you are doing something with, for example, fancy fibers, metallics, blocking is going to be bad, because if you've got anything that is not a natural fiber under your iron, you really run the risk of having it burn, melt, sear, glue to the thing next to it, any number of things. Having said that, if you remember the sugar skull pumpkins that I just put out, there was a lot of metallics in those. I'm going to show you one of those at the end, because I did block it as an experiment. I did a controlled experiment, and even with the metallic fiber, it blocked beautifully. So my point is, test your piece. If you know it's all wool, you're good. You don't need to test it. But if you've got other fibers going on, just do a little sample with this same method, just basic blocking. I'm going to show you what to do. Do this always. If there's any question about whether you're using yarn from like the craft store, might have some acrylic content, just be careful and test it first. It's not a big deal. It's just another 5 seconds with the iron. So here's Owl. I think I'm going to call this one Moonlight Becomes You. You know I love to name things after old songs, and that's one of my favorites. So I've got a face cloth from the closet in the bathroom. It's just the face cloth I use when the kids don't feel like washing up, and I just force it on them. Give them the old Italian kind of bath right from the sink. I hope that's okay to say. We still say that in our family when we're joking around. But we're Italian too, so that's okay. It's just a regular face cloth. It's not dirty. It's brand fresh, new, damp, wrung out, not soaking wet, just wrung out. And I'm just literally putting it on the finished part of the rug, just right on there. I've got my iron right here, and it's on hot, it's on full blast. And blocking, and I've got it filled with water, so it wants to steam. I've got it on the highest setting. It's going to want to steam. And I'm just going to move, this is blocking. I'm going to move the iron very slowly, and I'm not going to stick with you the entire time because it's a slow process. Iron's heating up again. I'm going to move it all around the surface of this piece. This is a 10 by 10 piece, so this isn't going to take a ton of time. But when I did that big whale rug last month that I showed you, I think in photos, that was a commission. I wanted it to look nice. I certainly used all wool on it, and I blocked it beautifully. And the blocking took over 2 hours. You know, I was pressing down doing this for over 2 hours. I was listening to some good audiobooks at the time, but it was a long time to just sit here and do this. But this is how you block. Now, my iron's on high, but of course the middleman is this damp rag. So I'm harking back to my days in costume when I worked in the theater in London and I did my degree, harking back to all of those times when somebody would run behind the table to pick up a soda or a beer or something while we were in the workroom and leave the iron like this on a beautiful silk garment that someone would be wearing the next night on stage. that never works. But this is different. There's wool under here, and the middleman is this damp rag. He can take a lot, the damp rag, and he is going to take a lot because this is going to take some time. I'm literally, when it smokes, I just move it on a little bit, but I'm literally going to be pressing it over the surface of the face cloth. Even a piece this small, I'll probably be doing it for 20 minutes, easy. I'm just going to peel up a corner to show you, and I do the corners too. I come over and I just hit the corners for a while, not like tap, 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 but I hit them for a while. And I'm going to look at it as I go. I'm going to peel it up and I'm going to say, well, you know what? It looks better already. Let's see if I can bring you in here. It looks flatter already. It's hard to see the texture, and I'll lift it up when I'm totally done. But what is happening is underneath here, underneath the magic curtain, the loops are relaxing. They're relaxing into each other. They're smoothing out. The pile is becoming more even, more smooth. In a sense, I'm pressing it, but it's wool, so I'm not pressing it the way that you think of pressing like a nice work shirt or something like that. What's happening is the heat is softening up the loops, and they are relaxing into each other, and they're going to make a little bit more of an even pile. It's not going to take any color away. It's not going to take any integrity away. This process doesn't do anything negative, no adverse effects at all, blocking your piece. So it is okay to let it sit for just a little while. If I see it smoking, I move it along, but it takes some time. I'm going to put you on pause and bring up that pumpkin to show you the blocking that I did on a piece that was really a risky thing to do with an iron. Okay, so I'm steaming away here. I've been at it for another 10 minutes or so, maybe 15. You can see the steam is really pouring off the piece, and I think it's looking pretty good at this point. So I'm going to unplug this because I'm thinking steam and phone is probably not a good combo in and of itself. Let me unplug the iron. Now, if you have sort of a crappy old iron, that might be the one you want. The one like mine that you've destroyed by like ironing, interfacing upside down, and the glue gets all over it, and you clean it with the vinegar and it doesn't make any difference and it's ruined. That might be the iron because you're always using a middleman when you're doing this. Do you have to use the middleman? I mean, you don't have to do anything in this world, but giving it a little more moisture with a damp cloth is going to speed the process up. Now, I think it looks pretty good at this point. Let me hold it up and see if I can show you a bit better. Here we go. Good view of the mess. Classic, right? So here we are, and there's still steam pouring off of it. It's making me hungry, actually. It's really smooth. It's really bright and smooth. Looks like a pizza pie. The steam anyway. But yeah, it really settles down the loops. It's hard to see with the video. You can maybe see the photos when I post them because this kit's going up today for sale with the candy cane eyes. But it just gives it something extra. It gives it a really nice structure, really sound structure, a lot of integrity. Now, I told you I would show you the pumpkins. So this was one of the sugar pumpkins that I made recently. And you see this crazy, it's this metallic yarn, really thin yarn. I ordered this from Etsy. It came from somewhere in Eastern Europe. They seem to have the prettiest, all metallic, because it's not just metallic, is it? It's got like flecks of gold, turquoise, pink, but this is the Kiss of the Spider pumpkin design, and I have it right as, you know, the cobweb cheeks right through most of the design. And yeah, I steamed this with the iron. I started by just testing a little corner first, and I had my middleman in place, so I would never directly hit this because I know that this is not a natural fiber. I would never directly hit that with the iron, even my crapped out iron. Never do that because you will get a melt 100%. But I tested it with the middleman and nothing happened, and I went a little bit further and nothing happened, and I was able to block this whole thing and nothing happened. So my point is, when you're blocking, just give it a test. Don't think of it as another step or stage of what you need to do, another hassle thing. Don't think of it as that. Think of it as an extra 5 seconds that is going to ensure that your finished piece, assuming it's natural material, wool or not a blend, it's going to ensure that it comes out looking, your finished piece, as good as it can look if you want your surface to be even. Once you're finished with this, the blocking is now over, you can think about what you want to do with the edges of it, how you want to finish your piece, the binding. So I have some videos on that too. There's lots out there on that too. But the blocking is basically a glorified word for putting down a face cloth and ironing it until it's really flat and even. And it does come out really well. It's something that if you're able to do it with the materials you're using, don't skip this step. It really helps things look really nice. See you next time on Ribbon Candy Hooking. Take care.